You ready for the last two?
Not really.
Great, let's get started.
This music no longer brings me joy.
Released on June 3rd, 1944, Angel Puss opens with Daffy Duck and Porky Pig in the opening titles.
Oh, it's a Daffy Duck and Porky cartoon. So what kind of shenanigans are they going to get into today? Oh, come on!
So we meet Sambo, the hunter from All This and Rabbit Stew, as he goes to drown some kittens. When he...
Whoa! He's drowning kittens? What the f*** is he drowning kittens?
Actually, kitten drowning was a thing lots of people used to do to control the cat population.
Drowning kittens? Is human history, only made up of terrible things?
When he checks the water, we find that it isn't kittens, but a full-grown cat he'll be drowning. Oddly enough, it feels like the cat is drawn more human-looking than Sambo is. The cat tricks Sambo into drowning the bag, cruelly mocking him.
Kittens.
We then find the cat dressing up as an angel to further mess with him, instead of just, walking away from the situation and being happy that he wasn't drowned.
F***ing kittens.
The cat haunts him some more, but when Sambo tries to get away, the cat is able to bring him back with the sound of shaking dice.
Oh, for f***'s sake, this again!
Hey, we got you back.
Yeah, he's apparently hypnotized by the dice, because, black people. It's like this that makes me directly question when people say Bob Clampett, the director of this cartoon, was a friend to many of the great black musicians in the jazz scene at the time. Oh yeah, I've had friends like this before. Friends that haven't been through the things you've been through and haven't really taken the time to understand sensitive areas and stuff that's off limits. So they poke fun of you in ways that they may see as harmless, but don't realize what negative realities that they're reinforcing with their humor. Because to them, it's just a joke, man. Oh, I know these friends very well. Hell, I'm willing to admit I've been one of them, and may still be one of them. As a guy, I might joke about things that women have gone through that don't hold personal weight for me because I don't really personally experience it. So it comes off as not real to me. But nah, I'm pretty sure most of the black friends he had that he used as the excuse for such nasty reinforcing of stereotypes probably didn't actually want cartoons like this made if they really had a say in the matter. I mean, I'm willing to admit that I don't know exactly what goes on in the hearts of black jazz musicians I've never met being cool with these depictions, but I get the strangest feeling that they were less like, oh yes, by all means show us as big-lipped animals who throw away our money because we're just so darn irresponsible. I'm guessing it was more like, well, I'm a black musician in an era where they wouldn't even let us use the same damn bathrooms as white people, much less give us the same opportunities for success. I'll take all the crossover publicity I can get.
Eventually, they both fall in the river, and Sambo learns that the cat is not actually a ghost. The cat tries to reason with Sambo, but Sambo actually kills him. Holy shit.
Holy shit, indeed. I mean, think about it. Elmer Fudd, Wile E. Coyote, Yosemite Sam, over the decades of their existence, they've never killed their nemesis. This guy did it in one cartoon.
Yeah, but the idea is that he's actually going to be haunted by ghosts now.
Yeah, but they made a sympathetic black character who gets to take revenge on and kill his aggressor. That's about as pro-black power that a Looney Tunes cartoon is ever gonna get. What? I've had to look at multiple cartoons where black people are treated like and shown as nothing but clowns for the amusement of white folks. Let me enjoy when a black character wins, okay?
And now it's time for the final cartoon.
Oh, thanks, sweet, merciful God.
Goldilocks and the Jivin Bears. Goldilocks and the Jivin Bears was released on September 2nd, 1944, combining elements of Goldilocks and the Three Bears and Little Red Riding Hood with all the characters drawn in racist blackface style. This would also be the last Warner Brothers short to have all-black casting, excluding the inky cartoons by Chuck Jones.
Okay, let's speed this along. So all the characters look racist as except for the pianist whose face we never see, but at least his hands look realistic. Also, Goldilocks looks realistic, but I think that's because she's fulfilling the black hussy stereotype, representing the supposed exceptional black women who were lusted after by racist white guys. Also, like every other one of these fairy tale retelling cartoons, jazz is the focal point, except I just don't care anymore. Honestly, I'm more confused why they didn't give the Goldilocks character a black version of that name, like Afrolocks or something. Also, the wolf tries to basically rape Goldilocks, but when the Three Bears come in, they mistake the struggle for the jitterbug and start playing more jazz. And when Goldilocks hears the beat, she wants to actually dance and starts pulling and throwing the wolf around as sort of a meta-narrative revenge on the wolf. Except it kind of doesn't work, because in her worst case scenario, she was gonna get raped, but in his manifested worst case scenario, he gets sore feet. Oh boy, she sure got hit. I don't care, I just want this to be over.
The wolf finally finally leaves Goldilocks and the three bears and makes it back to Grandma's just in time for Red to show up. She asks why she wasn't being chased, and the wolf reveals his aching feet. The three bears show up and start playing again, with Grandma coming out of the closet in glee, dancing with the wolf, ending the cartoon. So that was the Censored 11. It has blackface, terribleness, racism, an affinity for jazz, which is oddly weird, the worst fights in cinematic history, and of course, racism.
You said racism twice.
Yep, it bears repeating.
Oh, well, yeah.
The Censored 11 were held from syndication by United Artists in 1968 after some had reached the public domain while others were still held in copyright. At the time, United Artists owned the Associated Artists Production Library, who had the distribution rights, and it was decided that these 11 were to be pulled from broadcasting for ethnic stereotyping and being too offensive for audiences.
The ban continues to this day, in which they're now under the control of Warner Brothers, but have been shown once theatrically. And many cartoons are edited for an international audience, but usually it's only one or two racist jokes, graphic violence, or a scene involving smoking, drinking, or other activities deemed as self-harming.
However, the racial themes in the Censored 11 are so essential that the copyright holders believe you can't use selective editing on them to make them acceptable for distribution. When Ted Turner obtained the rights to the Warner Brothers pre-1950 library in 1986, he vowed those cartoons would never be distributed. They weren't even on the golden age of Looney Tunes Laserdisc. And many of the 11 are available online at the Internet Archive, YouTube, Dailymotion, and some you can even find on bootleg video. Now, there are other racist cartoons that are not part of the Censored 11, such as Bugs Bunny Nips the Nips, a cartoon in which the Japanese enemy that was made during World War II are painted as buffoons. There's also Southern Fried Rabbit, a Confederate parody, Tokyo Jokyo, another Japanese enemy cartoon, and some of the most offensive Native American cartoons like Slightly Daffy, Tom Tom Tomcat, Horsehair, and Injun Trouble.
But see, those cartoons weren't censored because the main tension at the time was black people against white people, not against Native Americans or the Japanese, which I guess they viewed as either not as much of a threat to their company, or as people who are our enemies in war anyway, so we don't need to respect them. I mean, what do you expect? White people to care about more than one ethnicity at a time? Please. And when you go to the Wikipedia page, what's interesting to me is the response that Bob Clampett gave in the 80s about his cartoons. Everybody, including blacks, had a good time when these cartoons first came out. All the controversy about these cartoons had developed in later years merely because the changing attitudes towards black civil rights that have happened since then. Yeah, because absolutely no one was thinking about the racist portrayals of African Americans as far as you saw, until one day black folks just decided to get all uppity and demand to use my water fountain. What I'm trying to say is, even in the 80s, he seems to lack a bit of perspective. That's like me saying, well, women didn't seem to have a problem with being called bitches and hoes in hip-hop until all these feminists decided to come out of the woodwork. No, they just couldn't do anything about it at first because their voices weren't as equally respected enough to be heard in the first place. And that's the thing we have to realize here. Racism doesn't always come in the form of the KKK. It's not always evil. It lies in the way we tacitly accept and regurgitate stereotypes of people we don't see as fully realized human beings to begin with.
But in a way, they also made fun of other white people, just in a different, more specific way. De Fuhrer's Face was one such notorious cartoon. That's right, the Walt Disney Corporation got in on some xenophobic propaganda action too. But see, whereas they show Hitler and the other European dictators as people that we hate because of their ideological differences and the way they treat their citizens of their country, with the way they show the Japanese, we see Hirohito and all Japanese characters in general being exaggerated strictly based on the fact that they're not white. Also, let's not forget that the Murder Inc. car that claimed that they would murder Japanese people for free. Yeah, they didn't say that they'd murder Germans or Italians for free because, it's understood that not all Germans were Nazis and not all Italians wanted Mussolini's regime. But for the Japanese, what's the difference between their leader and their citizens, am I right? Sure, we had the ideological differences with Japan as well, but that was only the icing for insulting them on top of a layer cake with engendered disrespect for other cultures and peoples based on them simply looking and acting different from white people. The cartoon also won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short because America. The thing is, people are quick to defend these cartoons then and now, not taking into account that it's not just the cartoons that are being racist in a vacuum. This was a prevailing mindset that leaked into all facets of people's lives. Racism was so prevalent that it would take over 50 years and a goddamn presidential order before the Army reviewed records to give any medals of honor to their black soldiers who had served. In 1948, though President Truman had signed an order officially ending segregation and inequality in the military, it would take another 20 years before the Civil Rights Act was legislated.
Hell, a lot of the racial elements that they used in these cartoons are based off of imperialistic thoughts and ideas Europeans used as excuses for conquering and quote-unquote civilizing the people of certain countries. Like, for instance, pretty much all the citizens of African countries being portrayed as cannibals was part of the propaganda European countries used to act like they were just trying to help those darn Africans out in joining our modern times, instead of leeching off of their resources, which is what they were actually doing. And there are people who are going to say, oh, but it was a different time. Yeah, bullshit. It's not just because it was a different time. I hate that passive excuse for racism. No, it's because their main audience was white people, so Warner Brothers didn't give a shit if they disrespected those people's cultures because it wouldn't affect their money. When you don't care about other people's cultures and you don't allow them to have their own voices and express their concerns, no matter what time it's in, you're going to end up being closed-minded to their pain and their concerns.
And you know what they say, those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it.
Well, judging by recent events, it seems we've all failed our history classes. Can I go now?
Get out of here, you're bothering me.
Oh, I'm bothering you. I'm bothering you. Okay. I'm bothering her. What? Yes! I think that's how we need to end that.